I'm Gary Hall Sr. at the Race Club. Today we're going to talk to you about this little device called the Tempo Trainer, made by Finis. The Tempo Trainer monitors your stroke rate or your cycle time, which equates to the same thing. Some people use cycle time, some use stroke rates. But what it does is it tells you how much you're turning your arms over in all 4 strokes. We find that in freestyle and backstroke, they're very similar stroke rates that we try to achieve. And butterfly and breaststroke, which are done with cycles rather than strokes because both arms are pulling at the same time, those are also very similar. We think it may be the most valuable tool in your swim bag, but you have to know how to use it, and then you have to know when to use it. We start by showing you how to turn it on. Now it comes with a little case that wraps around that's supposed to go on your goggle strap. We don't like it because it usually falls off, so we stick it underneath the cap with the buttons facing outward. You turn it on with the right lower button here, and when you press it down and hold it, you'll see the number 1 appear. There's 3 different modes with this device, which are all interesting. The first mode is cycle time, which we choose not to use, but others do. If you hit the top button right here, it'll change it to mode 2, and mode 2 is lap interval time. So if you do hundreds on a minute, you want to hold a beep every 15 seconds, it'll beep. Mode 3 is the stroke rate. So you hold it down again, the mode 3 comes up, and that's your stroke rate. That means your RPMs, how many cycles per minute you're taking, or strokes per minute. So you change the strokes per minute by going up on the right and down on the left. And one last little thing is if you push this down and hold it, it goes up really fast. So you don't have to take so long to get to the right stroke rate. Now, we use this almost every day in practice. The reason we like it is that it forces you to stay on the beep. And there's something about that beep going off in your head that just makes you stay with it.
That one looked pretty good, Gary. I had you at 84, 85 most of the time. Yeah? Ready to keep it up?
Normally in a race, you're going to start a race at a stroke rate that you may like, but you usually don't finish it that way. And so you have to be able to sustain a stroke rate and pace in practice to be able to manage to do that in a race.
Okay, Gary, we're going to do a few 25s here and find that optimal stroke rate for you, and we're going to see where you can hold.
Okay.
Ready? Up!
One of the biggest problems we find among swimmers, and particularly the masters or the triathlete swimmers that come to us, is they just don't have enough stroke rate, and particularly if they're using what we call shoulder-driven freestyle, which basically means you want to use your stroke rate as primarily the propulsion and not the kick. And there are very few swimmers really in the world that have extremely strong kicks, so stroke rate becomes very important. In the masters group, for example, we often see them swimming in the 50s or 60s strokes per minute. That means 30 or 40 right arms and 30 or 40 left arms per minute. It's just not fast enough to sustain much speed, especially if they don't have much of a kick. So when we put the Tempo Trainer, we can actually work them up. Maybe it's starting at 65, and then we work them up to 70 in the second week, 75. And then ultimately, when we get into the elite group, we're trying to get to close to 90 strokes per minute, 45 right, 45 left. And then you're talking about most of the elite swimmers of the world, Katie Ledecky's, Zane Grothy's. American record-holding distance freestyler Zane Grothy likes to train and compete at a stroke rate of around 86 strokes per minute, which is very close to 90. He uses a bent arm recovery, or what we call a low-octane freestyle, with a hybrid technique, meaning that his right arm recovers faster than his left arm. Those types of swimmers that use either shoulder-driven or a fast hybrid freestyle will be around 90 strokes per minute. And that seems to work the best for the endurance races, which are over 200 meters.
83. 80. Good. That like a good 200 pace, 500 pace.
Probably 86 or something like that.
Yeah, 82 to 84 on those.
So then I'm going to come in and try to train for the 100 freestyle, and I got to train a little differently now. I have to increase the stroke rate And I'm also going to increase the octane level. I'm not going to go low octane and bend my elbow here. I'm going to raise the hand up, get the arm a little bit longer, produce more kinetic energy for more power. And I'm going to increase the stroke rate as well, going from 86 up to 100. Why 100? It seems to be where the elite athletes use in the 100 freestyle. Olympian Isabella Arcila prepares for the 100 freestyle by elevating the height of her recovering arm with her hands slightly above her elbows, and by increasing her training stroke rate to 100 strokes per minute. We call this technique a medium octane freestyle.
Now we're gonna do a few 25s here and find that optimal stroke rate for you. And we're gonna start at 100, work our way up, trying to get to a 110 stroke rate and see where you can hold.
Okay.
Ready, up. 89, 96, there you go, pick it up. Back to 90. I had you up at 96 for the middle portion of that 25. Trying to sustain that through the whole thing is going to be where we hit our wall.
Now when I drop down to the 50, that's where I'm all in. That's where I got to get the stroke up as high as I can. High RPMs, very few or no breaths, and now I'm going full bore on the octane. I'm going straight arm, and I'm going to throw that arm down the pool as hard as I can and go as fast as I can. So I'm going to try to get to 120 stroke rate, which for me, that's fast, but that's what I want to get to. That's kind of the entry point for the 50. Olympian Brad Tandy is one of the fastest 50 freestylers in the world, and he got there by using a straight arm recovery, or what we call high octane, and with a fast stroke rate of nearly 120 strokes per minute.
All right, Gary, so we discovered that you're maxing out about 104, 105 on your stroke rate, but you're also going fastest 25s when you're doing that stroke rate. All right, so if we can get up to 110 with a high octane recovery, then I think we're gonna be at a best time as long as we can maintain it. That wasn't bad. Everything's still attached?
I think so. Ooh, that was high octane.
That was high octane. Yeah, I think getting up to 110 is going to be pushing it a little bit, something to shoot for.
Yeah. It's important to understand that sometimes you can try to get your stroke rate up too fast and you really spin your wheels. It's like a tire in the sand. So there's an optimal stroke rate for everyone. Most masters are never going to get anywhere close to 120 in a sprint. They may try in their 25s to get to 100 or 100, depends on their age. 100, 105, 110 might be as high as they can get. And if they try to go faster than that, they'll actually slow down. And that's true for all of us. So we have to kind of figure out what is the ideal stroke rate for that athlete at that age and for what distance. And it's not always that easy. It sometimes takes some practice, some experimenting, some testing. But in the end, we feel pretty confident we can come up with the right stroke rate for you in all 4 strokes for each event.